By the end of the next decade, human feet will likely touch down on the dusty red soil of Mars. This is NASA's timeline, and it's not unrealistic. Some scientists claim permanent colonies could exist by 2050. That means you could be among the first Martians. But Mars has a fatal flaw that nobody has solved. Unlike Earth, Mars is a dead world. Anyone hoping to set foot there will need to overcome challenges with technology at the very cutting edge. The red planet will throw everything it has at you. To colonize Mars, you first have to get there. The trip takes about 3 months with the best launch conditions. That's 3 months outside Earth's magnetic field. Out here, you're exposed to solar wind and cosmic radiation that can cause cancer. Astronauts could be shielded using materials rich in hydrogen. The cabin could be surrounded by water tanks in the walls. Another option is creating a magnetic field around the spacecraft. But that requires energy from a reactor small enough to fit on the ship. Once there, Mars isn't as foreign as you might think. Earth and Mars share similarities. The solar day on Mars is only slightly longer, about 24 hours and 39 minutes. Its seasons are the most Earth-like of any planet due to similar axis tilts. But here's where the problems start. Something about Mars makes it deadly in ways we still don't fully understand. And it all begins with what happens at the poles. Mars has polar caps just like Earth. During winter, temperatures get so cold the atmosphere freezes into slabs of carbon dioxide ice. These caps are mostly water ice, but they're covered with frozen CO2. The ice waxes and wanes with the seasons. When this CO2 ice sublimates, it creates enormous wind speeds. This causes one of the most terrifying aspects of Martian weather: dust storms, not small ones. These storms can grow so large they swallow the entire planet in choking dust for months. These planet-sized superstorms arise every 3 Martian years, about 5.5 Earth years. Their thick dust blots out light for weeks. They represent a huge challenge for any technology we put up there. And we still don't know why they form. Scientists discovered something unexpected about these storms, something that changes everything we thought we knew about surviving on Mars. The answer lies in the dust itself. Dust plays a crucial role on Mars. Without it, those planet-spanning storms would never form. Dust devils suck up particles and hurl them into the atmosphere. Mars experiences thousands of these every year during spring and summer. Some reach 5 miles tall. Mars dust is surprisingly hard to get airborne. Small particles stick together like packing peanuts due to static electricity. Larger sand grains are lifted by wind, then crash down. These impacts give lighter dust enough momentum to become airborne and stay there. Once dust gets up there, Mars's lower gravity keeps it suspended for weeks or months. The particles collect heat from the sun like tiny radiators. They warm the atmosphere around them. Warm air rises, pulling in more wind, creating more dust. This out-of-control process ramps up into regional storms. The good news is, wind speeds only reach about 60 miles per hour. The thin atmosphere means you wouldn't feel much push. Dust storms can't knock over spacecraft or break equipment directly, but that doesn't mean they can't cause problems. And for NASA's rovers, these storms have proven to be killers. The dust that settles on solar panels blocks sunlight. Without power, rovers can't heat themselves through the freezing Martian nights. In June 2007, Opportunity faced its biggest dust storm yet. The sun's brightness dropped by 96%. Power dropped from 700 watts to just 128 watts on the darkest day. Anything under 150 watts means batteries run flat and components freeze. The Spirit rover wasn't so lucky. In 2009, it hit incredibly soft soil at a location named Troy. The mineral underneath had remarkably low cohesion. Despite months of escape attempts from Earth, Spirit never moved again. It went quiet for good. But the real problem comes when storms scale up to planet size. Scientists measure sunlight availability using aerosol optical depth. Normal Mars is about 0.5. These superstorms hit 9 to 11. That's near total blockage of light. In 2018, a storm of this type killed Opportunity. It swamped the solar panels and forced hibernation mode. Without power for heaters, wildly swinging temperatures broke something critical. The rover never woke up. After 15 years, Opportunity was gone. These storms affect everything on Mars, even satellites. The warming dust causes the entire atmosphere to expand into orbital paths. Satellites must burn precious fuel making corrections. If humans settle there, they'd be isolated during these weeks-long storms. But there's another problem hiding in the Martian soil, something that could poison any crops we try to grow, and it's everywhere on the planet's surface. Martian soil does have nutrients plants need. In 2016, researchers grew tomatoes, radishes, peas, and other crops in imitation Mars soil. They produced only slightly less than Earth soil, but they had to add organic matter as fertilizer for the plants to survive. The bigger problem is calcium perchlorate. This salt is toxic if consumed in large quantities. Plants absorb it from the soil. Humans then absorb it when eating the plants. But perchlorate isn't all bad. It can pull water from air and release oxygen. NASA is developing new technologies to adapt to Mars. The Ingenuity helicopter used lightweight materials and carbon fiber blades to achieve 72 flights over 3 years. It traveled over 10 miles and proved powered flight works in Mars's thin atmosphere. Walking robots could explore places wheels can't reach. NASA is working with Boston Dynamics on robots that navigate rough terrain autonomously. They can handle pitch-black conditions, dust, and water. They recognize points of interest without human input. Caves on Mars could shelter future colonists from radiation. Lava tubes formed when magma flowed through and emptied out. Some are large enough to house buildings inside. But exploring them requires robots that can work completely independently underground. Habitats would be built using Mars soil mixed with water ice into something like concrete. Autonomous robots would 3D print structures layer by layer. Then they'd cover habitats with more soil for radiation protection. Mars has no magnetic field like Earth. Colonists would need to create breathable air through electrolysis, separating oxygen from water. The Perseverance rover's MOXIE module is testing whether we can extract oxygen from CO2 in the atmosphere. Energy would come from solar panels and nuclear reactors combined. Life on Mars wouldn't be easy. Confined spaces, same people, constant tasks and stress. The psychological demands would be extreme. Health problems from low gravity include bone loss and vision issues. Settlers would be trapped with no way to return home quickly. Mars has a fatal flaw. It's a dead world fighting against life at every turn. Dust storms, toxic soil, radiation, and isolation. Yet volunteers keep applying. This could happen in our lifetimes. The question is whether we can solve these problems before we arrive.